Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to our regular weekly outlook, but today we wouldn't be really looking at any charts in particular. I want to talk more about trading. I hope you guys can see my screen. I have the Aussie chart on. Just give me a yes if you see it. Great, let's go. So what I want to talk about today is what traders do. What are we as traders really doing? Because I get a lot of questions from TradingView. People just ask me, should I buy here? Should I sell here? Can I enter the trade now? And what I have learned in my years of trading is that traders don't read. We simply don't read what we should read in the charts. And most of us are pretty lazy, right? Sorry to say that, but that's a fact. Most of us are pretty lazy. We simply can't even we don't want to read a chart. We don't want to Google anything. You know, sometimes I put the video out, the time, and I put it in Moscow time. When you get it, you're supposed to get it in your local time. But people will still send me a message. Can you tell me what is the time in my area I'm living here? And I'm like, don't you know there's a Google? You can Google it, get the Google clock, and figure it out. I saw somebody post a chart like this the other day. And I mean, this is literal, guy. This is not, I'm not kidding you. Somebody posted a chart like this. And like this. And like this. And like this. Come on, this is refusing to work. And then we got another line here. I could put the horizontal line there. And then put another set of things like this and said, something like that, and said, I'm teaching you the support and resistance. Everybody go, wow, wonderful, that's so nice. And I'm like, you guys don't know you have Google? You can Google that stuff and find out much more about what is support and resistance, how it works, and how you should test it. I mean, literally, how lazy do you have to be to wait for somebody to post something like that to teach you what is support and resistance if you want to make this your profession, right? If you guys keep the chat and the questions for last, I would leave enough time for that. Today's Friday afternoon. I'll go as long as you want me to go, right? Nobody, you can hear me? I think everybody can hear me fine. So if you're having problem with on your side, it's your side with the song, right? Yep, somebody's asking me I'm speaking. So the song is your side problem. Let's go. So here's what you need to know if you want to be a professional trader. Even if you're a professional trader, because professional traders makes the same mistake. A lot of us make the same mistake when we work with a strategy, when we work with something, right? So here's what I'm gonna go start with. We're all looking to do one thing, only one thing, and that is make money. That's your goal. Your goal is to make a lot of money in trading. So the question is, how do you do that? And then we all start our journey searching for that one thing that could give us an edge in the market. That's what we're all doing for. We're looking for one thing that could give us an edge in the market. So what you do, you start studying. You found out there's support and resistance. You found out there are pin bars. You found out there are candlestick patterns you can use. You found out that there are moving averages you can use that crosses over. You found out you can look for divergence. You found out you can do all this stuff. And then you start literally trading all of that in your account. And it doesn't work, right? What happens is that I'll take a chart and show you. I want to literally take a chart and show you today what happens. So you start with support and resistance, and you look at a chart like this. Let's take this chart, for example. And somebody said, guys, when they come here, this is the support line, right? Somebody said it's not a line, it's an area, so I'll go with an area, right? So let me start with an area. You'll find this area here, and they'll say, oh, you see there, you see that area there? When they come into that, maybe not so big because that's a whole 300 pips, something like this. You're going to find a lot of resistance and support in that area, right? Because look here, they found resistance, and here they broke the resistance. They come back to the resistance and they go, and you're like, wow, that is perfect. Man, that's what I was looking for. Look, they came back to the resistance and they go. Look, they came back to the resistance and they go. I can become a super buyer. They come back to the resistance, you buy, and you lost the trade. And they said, well, when they break the resistance, what do? You sell because you broke resistance, right? That becomes that support. Sorry, this was resistance. It became support, And now you broke the support, you sell, and then you sell and they go back and they take your stop out and you lost another trade, right? You just may want to and you lost and you're like, okay, come back to it again. I'm selling. And then you start to go, you probably make some profit. You're expecting it to go back. It didn't go. You come out of the trade and you start looking for where is your next resistance. And your next resistance comes around here. And boy, you just jump into a big buy when you saw this. Bang, go, I got it. It's going to go up now. And your stop got taken out. And then you start worrying, well, what the hell happened to this thing now? Why is it not working, right? And you can find a number of them, or you start looking for them all over the place, right? You start putting the supports and the resistance. Okay, here is going to be one. They didn't come back to that. Let's find another one. Here was one at the bottom here. This when they go for support, when they break it, it will be resistance. Not even so big, smaller than that, right? So you said, it come back to this. It come here, you buy again. They didn't go, they take you out. Come here, they break, you sell, you probably win. Go back up, they come to it again, you try to sell, you got taken out again, right? They come here, you sell again, you got taken out again. And you're wondering, well, what the hell happened? What should I do? What is really this whole thing? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, right? So, you know, somebody come up, you watch a webinar, a guy said, don't worry with that. That's okay, I tested it, and 60% of the time they work, you're gonna make money if you do that. Well, when you're back testing something, here's what you do. You back test every single one of them you see. When you're trading, you don't do that. You don't get to take every trade in the market, right? And the same thing with pin bars. You look at a pin bar and then the guys start showing you, they selectively choose some pin bars and they said, wow, look at this one work. That's a good reversal. Or this is a good one. They made a pin bar you should buy, and you actually make profit on 1 or 2 trades. And then you start doing that and you realize the losses starts to come in. A few wins, losses, and you're nowhere. And you wonder, well, what happened? I mean, this thing is a strategy, you start even defending the strategy that it works, and I need the time, I'm in the wrong market and all of that stuff. But here is actually what happens. Anything you look for in that chart, anything you look for, absolutely anything. You look for a red candle and sell after a red candle, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. You flip a coin and you buy when it's head or tails. You buy at head and you sell at tails. You're going to win some. You're going to lose some. But as a strategy, as a profound strategy that you can use for a long-term process, for a long-term trading, I have tested them myself. I've been there like you guys. I've tested all of that. As a long-term strategy, does it work? And most people can't say yes or no. And the reason they can't, because most of you have not tested it. And that's the first thing you should do as a trader. You should spend a couple months testing that, back testing it, and forward testing it to know if it works. Right? That's what you should do. That's what we do in our room. After I teach my traders, I tell them, don't believe what I do. Go test it. Go do all the back testing and that, and come back with questions to me. And that's what they do. They have to bombard me with the questions after doing back testing on all the strategies we say work, all the things we do. Right? That's the whole point of learning. It's a learning process. You have to keep, watching if the market is going to do, and you're still looking for that edge. After you finally test all of these things, you're still looking for the edge. And you wonder why they work sometimes, why they don't work. And it's a simple reason. People ask me why you use wave theory, why you use Elliott wave. It's not only Elliott wave I use wave theory, which is a little better, which is a little more than what Elliott did. Elliott did amazing work, but it's a little more than that. And it's what I want to talk about with you today. Let's be honest. If support and resistance were working, I would be using it like hell to make money. I'm not that crazy as yet to say, well, oh, this works, but I would not do it. If pin bars were making money, I'd be buying and selling every pin bar I see. But they simply don't, on the long term, give you. Sometimes you see a good pin bar at a good spot, at a good reversal point, and yes, bingo, it goes. That is good. Nothing is wrong with that. But as a long-term strategy, it will not work. Because the chart will do what it has to do. It will not respect the support or resistance. It is not going to follow some pin bar. It is not going to follow some resistance point. It's not going to follow the crossover of the moving average. Moving averages are very lagging too. And I did a webinar on that showing you why they're very lagging. Because when you're in consolidation, what the moving averages do, they tend to come together and they may even cross over. And that will give you a false notion that you're probably going up, and then they drop it because you're in a consolidation. And then you wonder, well, okay, this one didn't work. Maybe the next one will work. And you test 100 and you find that 60% didn't work. And then you say, okay, throw that away. And the reasons is because we can all see. This is not something that I'm telling you not to look. We can all see. This is something you can see. You can simply look at the chart and you can see that the chart tend to move in some very sharp impulses, very sharp movement, and then it goes sideways. Very sharp movement, then it goes sideways. Very sharp movement, and then it goes sideways. You can see it. That's literal. You can see it, right? So the question now that comes to you, how do you catch these sharp movements and don't miss out on them? That is the question. That was the question I asked myself. That's the question you're asking yourself. That's the question we're all asking ourselves. How do I get into that thing, stay in it, and know where to get in and where to get out? Right? That's what you want to know. If you can know that as traders, you're perfect. You're going to make millions of dollars. Because now you have something that can help you do that. And there is a theory that long before we were born, or came up, and some of us were not even around then when that theory came up, that, you know, there is a theory that says this thing moves in 3 waves or in 5 waves. And some people have done a lot of work on it, even before Elliott. Elliott came along, and he came along with a more constructive, well-developed, designed theory that is known as Elliott wave, which is saying that, you know, they move in 5 waves when they're trending, they move in 3 waves when they're correcting. The problem is a lot of people can't even figure out when the hell the chart is correcting and when it's trending. Honestly, a lot of traders who are even Elliott wavers, I look at their charts they post, they have no clue when it's trending and when it's correcting. So what they start to do is haphazardly putting that thing all over the place. I did that. I was there. Just put it all over the place. Put counts all over the place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you start changing them around to make it fit. Right? And it's not helping you either in the trading. So what should you do to make you happen? To give you that edge? And that is where we said, let's find something that gives us an edge in the market, something that tells us how these patterns behave. You study the Elliott wave. And here's what I want to tell everybody. Don't buy any basic course anywhere for 500, 2,000, 1,000. At least for 1 year in your trading life. You don't need to buy the basic course. When you enter my room or you join my trading room, you're not joining to buy Elliott wave course. Let me make that clear. You have to know Elliott wave course before you come into my room. That's a requirement that you read the book and that you have some understanding of it, because you must read the book. I don't teach that in my course. That's basic stuff, and it's free. It's absolutely free. Go to elliottwave.com, Google it, find the book. There are many of them. Read them, try to practice a little, and then when you can't figure out how to identify it in the chart, that's when you come to me. Right? I'm not going to post some chart in TradingView showing you stuff like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is it. And hey, and everybody go, wonderful, thank you, you helped me. No, I didn't help you. That's not going to help you identify a pattern in the chart. I can post 1 million of those charts and I will get about 500, 300, 400 likes on each one of them. It will not help you a single bit. You can't identify it under the chart. I give you a chart now and tell you, find a triangle in it. I have traders in my group who are very experienced, and they're having problems identifying a triangle after completing the course. You don't find a triangle that easy in it. It's easy to draw and say, hey, this is the triangle. When you see this pattern, it's good. How do you see it in the charts? That's the problem. Here's the copper of a good example. We were doing that today, by the way, in our group. And here's copper is a good example. Let me show you why it's so difficult. Copper. Everybody remember I posted this chart for the buy to the upside? This is where we started. We started with this chart. And I want you to pay attention here, because this is where you start understanding the depth of wave theory, not by posting some crazy diagram on the trading view and everybody's, oh, let's go. So this was the first chart. We looked at the trend. The trend is coming down. And I said, guys, watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, buy this for a 5th wave, and then we will go down. That's a triangular looking pattern. Perfect. You don't want it better than that. The buy, if you bought it, you did extremely good, right? Because it did go up. Oh, I didn't want to close the chart. Then it came to the top of the triangle. It came to the top of the triangle, and then I said, okay, here's the deal. You have a sell coming down from that triangle, and it should come way to the bottom. And if you sold that, you did well. because you came here. Some of our traders took that trade, and then it came here. When it came here, we looked at the structure. And guess what? This is what you saw. This is how we saw this change. Come on, this thing keeps going away from me. I'll bring it up. Good. This is what you sell. You sold the breakout. Here's when it reaches here. You see what I said? Two things you're looking for now. You're looking for this to break the triangle, make a consolidation, prove that it is going to go, and then you sell. But when we relook at the chart, and this started to go up, let me just exit this. And this thing, again, it's gone. This is a headache. It's going away. Well, but we'll manage, yes. And then we look at the chart, and we said, guys, I said to my group, and I repost this. I repost this late for you because I saw it, but we in our group saw this early. And I said, guys, if you take a buy here, two things we're going to look for. Either this makes a correction here and you get a break-even trade, or this goes back up here and this is the triangle. That was the triangle. And we had traders who were in that trade going up. All of you know how that triangle. You see how this triangle here from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turned into an A, a B, where the triangle is the B wave, and then go there. And then all the traders come and say, oh, you're changing your analysis. No. We're moving with what the chart is doing. We're watching the development of the chart, and then we look at the patterns that it's creating. If you see one piece of the chart, it's not enough information to tell you what the pattern is doing. You see 2, 3, 4 pieces of the chart, it may give you a clue as to what you're looking at. And then you see the 5th part, and you know that what you were looking at is a different structure. It's like I was looking at a guy they call, I don't know what they call, what's the exact word, but it's like fast painting, fast drawing. And the guy turned it upside down, and he was actually drawing a head upside down. And nobody to the very end, until he turned that thing upside down, could understand that there was a head there. And you know why? Only he saw the vision of what he was doing. It's the same thing in the chart. The idea about wave theory, which I want to come to it today, is that this is how wave theory works. Now you're going to get the part that you're here for. You will look for an impulse. All structure starts with an impulse. Every single structure you're going to look for, every single pattern you will ever look for starts with an impulse. A very fast, impulsive move that is breaking the previous structure. So if the previous structure was up, you're going to get a fast, impulsive move going down. Most likely, if you're not very good at pattern and you're not very professional at this and you don't understand very much, you may miss that first one. And that is okay, because you will wait for the second one, which will be a corrective structure. And this is where the problem comes, understanding corrective structures and how they develop. If you read the book, and I want all of you to read the book, you will see that there are simple corrective structures. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of telling you, here is an ABC and a W. You can read the book and understand that. Let's not waste our time on that. That is free. If you're too lazy to read the book, then not my fault, right? I'm going to tell you stuff that are much more complicated and are much more, thing than just reading the book. Keep this webinar and read the book, and watch this webinar and read the book, and you'll learn something. This is where the complication comes. So when I see a pattern like that, and sometimes I see a pattern like pretty early, and I said to everybody, there's a big move coming. And it's a monthly chart or it's a weekly chart. And I said, there's a big move coming very soon. 1 week after, everybody said, where is the big move? It's not there. Then 1 month after, everybody said, hey, well, he's talking about a big move. It's not there. This guy just crazy. He said it's going to be a big move and there's no big move. And 4 months after, there's a big move. All the trolls go away and all of them miss it. Because they have no idea that it is coming. It's just that you're looking at the monthly chart and you need 3 or 4 more candles before it's over. Does that mean it's not going to come? I want you to go back to my charts and look at the euro. There's a number of monthly predictions I make a year ago, 2 years ago. Go back to them, look at them. You would be amazed. You would really be amazed. But those are monthly predictions. They're not trading. I showed already the pound one that I made 2 years ago. The pound falling. Those are predictions. They're not trading. Trading is different. Trading, we trade on the 60 minutes. So every time that thing gives me an opportunity to sell, I would take the sell. Because one of them is going to go. Every now and then, I will take a loss on one of them, but that's okay. If you want to catch it from the very top, that is okay. That's trading. That's part of the tested strategy that you've done. You have to understand that you're not going to win every single trade. So don't go crazy when you lose. But here's the thing. I always tell my traders, if you use good money management, you would care less if you take 10 consecutive trades in a row. That should not affect your account. If you win 10 consecutive trades in a row, your account should grow because you're winning 3-1, 4-1, and not just 1-1. So your account grows. But if you lose 10, no big deal. Next trade. Now, unless you're really, really, really bad trader, you're going to lose 10 trades in a row. That rarely happened to anybody, right? You can't lose 10 trades in a row all the time. That's not possible. Even if you know nothing, right? It's not going to happen. You're going to get lucky sometime. Let's put it that way. So the point is, time frame is important. And this is where trading concerned. When you look at Elliott wave, you make 1, 2, 3. If you're in a 15-minute, this may go. If you're in a 1 hour, 60 minutes, that may go. If you're in a 240 and you're looking for a 240 consolidation, you're not only going to make 1, 2, 3. You're going to make 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, and then you may see this go. This is a 240 consolidation. And if you're in a daily, you may be in that thing for months before it go. And here I'm going to show you one of that chart, because that's what I intend to do. Tell you what you need to know, and then show you the chart. So let's look at the chart that I'm going to put a bet with any one of you that this is likely going to go. I'm willing to lose the bet. US CAD. This was the up impulse. When you look at it weekly, that was the up impulse. This here was the up impulse, and we broke that trend. Remember what I said, when you break the trend, they're going to move away from that zone with a very sharp move. And then they're going to start the consolidation. Don't miss this trade. Let me repeat that again for the trolls that may be in my chart later on. Don't miss that trade. That is what will triple your account. That is a trade. You're going to come back and say, I just tripled my account. Don't miss it. It's going to happen. Now, how long will it take? We're in a monthly chart. We're in a weekly chart. How long will it take? I don't know. How many attempts did we make at that? Let's go look at it in the daily. Now you're going to go into how you trade this pattern, right? That is the long-term analysis. How do you trade it? Can you buy into a structure like this that looks like an uptrend? It is trending up on a 240 or on a daily. Can you buy into that? Yes, you can buy. Can you sell into that? Yes, you can sell into that. Once it completed 1, 2, and it's in a third one, every opportunity for a sell is a good opportunity, because you don't know how long this third wave will go for before it comes back here. What you also don't know is whether that will break there or whether it's going to go back up for one more before it breaks. Don't try to know that. You can never know that. That's the unknown of the wave theory. That's the unknown part. The corrective structure is the unknown part when it's going to finish. But you can know how to trade it if you understand the different little parts within it. That is the fractal nature of the market. If you understand the little bits and pieces inside of it, if you study this thing, if you're very good at it, if you have the rules we have when we come into my room, and you understand how each part of that is a perfect structure by itself. And when you learn to read into that structure, then you know what are your probabilities for this thing to go down. And we started doing that from here. Let me go into 4 hours so you have a better view into that. So let's go into 4 hour. And once it started showing you a sign of downside, after you've broken the top of this, that's a sell setup that we had. That's a sell setup that we had. This is a sell setup that we had. We lost that one. This is a sell setup that we had. We made money in that one. This one is a sell setup. That one, I think we didn't get it. And we're looking for another sell setup here. It's not there as yet. When I said sell set up, I'm talking about the strategy to trade that chart. So when I said look for a sell setup, what that means is you have to have got a tested strategy. It doesn't mean you sell it immediately. You have to tell me what you're looking for in the chart that will give you the sell. What are the signals to give you that sell? If the analysis says it's going to go down, you don't just click sell. You have to see based on your strategy, and my strategy is based on wave theory. So I will go to lower time frame and look for the waves that I'm looking for, the waves that I need to see before I get into that sell. And if I see those, I get into the sell. What if there's a pin bar there? Well, great, that's a help. That's not a must, that's a help. What if it's breaking some kind of a resistance that somebody had there? Maybe that's a help. I don't look at those, but maybe it's a help for you if you look at it. But that's not the clue. That's not what you're going to use as a strategy. Because if you use that as a strategy, on the long term, it doesn't work. Right? It doesn't work. It will not work. That's the whole point. So what is this pattern now? This pattern is telling me there's a likely chance for more upside. Remember, you're going to have an impulse and you're going to have a consolidation and you could have one more up. Should I sell this down? Definitely. Definitely, if I get a good sell setup, I'll take the sell to the downside. Where would I exit that trade? Well, when this structure that I am in is no longer valid for the downside. That's the whole thing about the wave theory, is that you're selling because your analysis says this structure is going to do this. If the structure does that, you make a good trade. If the structure doesn't do that, the question you always have to ask yourself, where would I be wrong about the analysis? Where am I wrong? Where would this thing tell me it's no longer going down? And that is where you put a stop. Now, some people said, oh, I sold the euro yen. Let's go look at the euro yen for an example. And I posted this chart in the euro yen. I'll take this out. I posted this chart in the euro yen and I said, it's there. Let me go get it. I think it's on the daily, right? No, it's on the 1 hour. Yep. I posted that chart in the euro yen. And I said, watch this thing to possibly come and test this stop and the trend line before we go down. But if it breaks anywhere along this line without testing, we will look for sells. Now let's go back to that chart. I want that chart. I know why it's going away. And let's click see what happens. Anywhere in there, did you see a sell setup? And people write me and said, oh, I'm in the sell in the euro yen. What should I do with it? I'm like, but the first thing is, who told you to get in the sell? And the second thing is, if you're in the sell, where was your stop? If you got in the sell, you have a reason why you're selling. You think you're selling because of this. And if you sold because of that, where were you wrong? You have to make that decision immediately. Before you click sell or buy, you have to make a decision to say, if it does this, I am wrong and I need to get out of the trade. And I will be risking so much % of my account. I'll be risking either 1% or 0.5% or 2% of my account. This is what I'm going to lose if I'm wrong. Right? That's it. People write me and then they go into charts. One guy even go into charts and said, what are you talking about? You lost the euro trade. I was like, but I was the euro yen, but I wasn't in it. I'm like, oh, well, good for you because I'm still not in it. I don't know how you lost something you can't be in it. Right? Now, is this thing going to break down? Let me show you what we're looking at and why we make that decision. Weekly charts. This is your weekly chart. So we had an impulse, we had a correction, and you got your next impulse down. What you're looking for, and move up, a move down, a move up, possibly one more move down. Now, is it going to happen? Maybe not. Maybe this is the start of the upside. Maybe this one, this first sharp move here is the start of the upside, but this one did not break the trend. So I'm thinking, no, probably not. Probably this is a consolidation to go back down. And until today, I still have that view. This view for the downside has not changed. There is only one thing that will change that view to the downside. Based on my analysis and theory, there's only one thing that could break that. This has to go way above here. Pull back. You know they will pull back. We all know they will pull back. And if they do that, we will all be in that trade going up. That's it. That's the idea. That's the whole process. Remember, I keep telling you guys, wait for your impulse, wait for it. Now, this is the daily or the weekly analysis. We don't trade weekly and daily charts. So what is our analysis on the daily? I post another one. Guys, this is the trend line. Watch it. That's not a break of the trend line, people. By wave theory, when you break the trend line, you need to decide to break out of this trend line, and you need to show me a structure above the line. If you don't have a structure above the line has no value. Remember, I think people put these lines on and they're married to them, right? You're totally defending the lines. The line is nothing. The line has nothing to do with what the chart is doing. The line is just an indication that at this point, they may turn. This is a point where they may turn, or this is a point where they could change the direction of the trend. This thing could do exactly this and then reverse back. And that does not change the direction of the trend, because I don't have a structure above the trend that says it's going the opposite direction. I don't have it. There is nothing there that says it's going above. Remember, what is the clue? Let me go back and tell you, you have to fix this everywhere. If you guys learn this thing, this is the basic. You're going to get an impulse, you're going to get a correction, and then you look for another impulse. If I wake you up in the night, you should remember this. This is simple. That is just the basics of the theory. That's not the theory. That's not what you're going to learn. If it was all that you need to know, I wouldn't give you for free. I can promise you that. If that was all you need to know, I wouldn't be telling you it's so easy here. But that's the basics. That's the concept. Now, to understand that concept and to learn it, it takes a lot of time. You can do it on your own. You can spend the next 2 years. And one guy did this. He sent me the message. He said, I spent 1 year looking at all your videos more than once. I read the book, and at the same time, I'm looking at all your charts and testing myself and drawing mine. And he said, I've come close to it, but I still don't get it. And I know why he still doesn't get it. Because he doesn't know the rules for putting it. He's coming close, but most of them he will not get right because he doesn't know the rules for putting them. And there are rules by which you do it. It's not just you draw 2 lines, and I see people draw lines all over the place, and I'm like, okay, keep drawing your lines. Those are incorrect. There are rules by which you're going to do them. And if you follow those rules, it becomes simple. Sometimes it's not clear. We wait, and then we get a simple structure. Right? So let's wait. Let's wait some more. This trade is going to go up in the long term. But based on this structure that I'm seeing here now, unless it breaks and consolidates above, we may all get this trade back to the downside. And don't be surprised, right? Don't ask me what is going to happen in the world for that to happen. None of us know. Nobody here knows why that will go down or go up. You don't try to fool yourself on thinking, oh, well, I read this article there and it says that the Japanese are going to do this, so maybe yen is going to go up, euro yen is going to go up. No, you don't have a clue. It doesn't matter what they say. That's just one part of a bigger effect that could affect the euro yen. That is the euro as well. You have to study everything in the Eurozone. And then the dollar has an effect in it as well. You have to go study everything that the Feds are doing. And then you have to study everything that's happening in the world. And then you have to call the people and find out, is there going to be an earthquake anywhere? And then you have to be reading all the news, including at Bloomberg and all of that. And by that time, you're not trading. You're wasting your time. Because you will never know. You don't have the ability to learn all of that, all the effects on this thing to know. But you have the ability to look at the darn chart and decide it's breaking this, I'm going to sell. That is what you have the ability to do, because that is easy and you can do that. So rather than wasting your time writing a paragraph of why you think gold is doing this or this is doing that, just look at the chart and trade, please. Save yourself the headache of thinking you're smart by writing a lot under your chart, and we will all think you're so smart. Unless I'm stupid, then I will think you're smart. But I think I'm smart enough to look at that and say, oh, no way. You have no idea. Just put a chart with a nice technical trade and setup in it, and I would agree with you that that's a good technical setup. And I would say, bingo, you got it, my friend. If that trade worked, great. If the trade doesn't work, no big problem, but I see a good technical setup in it. That's the point. Don't try to explain to me why you think it's going to go, because you have no idea. I think the Feds have very little idea, much less, to ask you to tell me why you think it's going to happen. So what we look for in the charts are patterns, and these patterns, like the come back to the ones that work good. Look at the Aussie chart. Isn't this amazing? You can't guess this work, guys. Look at this chart. This is not a guesswork. People, here's what you can guess. Let me bring up this chart. Here's what you can guess. You can come out tomorrow and say, I think it's going to go down. And you have a 50% chance of being correct. And everybody say, yay, wonderful. You can say, I think it's going to go up. And you have a 50% chance of being correct. And everybody said, yay, wonderful. You can never say this chart is going to do 1, 2, 3, and then come down. That's 4 different moves. 1 up, 1 down, 1 more up, and 1 down. You can't guess that stuff. You got to get a crystal ball somewhere before you can guess it. Let's see how that plays out. Do I need to show you how it plays out? I think all of you followed it, right? All 23,000 people following me follow that chart. Like magic. You know why it works like magic? It's simple. Because I know what structure I'm looking for. And I know how that structure looks like. I know how it behaves. And I know what it should do. That is how simple it is. If you know what a car looks like, when you see a car, you said, hey, that's a car. But if you put 10 cars in a row and you ask somebody what type of car that is, and if the person has no idea what a car is, he's going to look at them and say, it's a car. But he can't differentiate them. That is what some of you are looking at the charts and you can't tell heads from tail because you can't differentiate the patterns you're looking for. You will put a moving average, you will look for a pin bar, you will draw a resistance line, and then it's going to break your resistance line like there's no tomorrow. And then you're going to wonder, if you think this is a resistance point, if anywhere you think you can put, they don't put the line now, they try to put the whole area like that. Oh, that's my resistance area. Well, it broke it. What do you do now? You still selling? Watch this resistance area because my moving average is there and the resistance is there, and wow, that's a good selling point. Well, sell it now, let me see. You sell it here and let me tell you what's going to happen to you. Sorry. You sell it there, I'll tell you what's going to happen to you. It's going to do you this. Take your stop out wherever you have it. You keep moving your stop, it's going to jam you and then do that. Because you have no idea what pattern you're looking at. I immediately said everybody, to my traders, my followers, I said, guys, don't even think of doing that. I gave them the update. I said, watch this to make a 3-wave pattern minimum. Minimum 3-wave pattern that will break your resistance. It will always break your resistance before it goes the opposite direction. Because that's what patterns do. That's how patterns behave. They don't have resistance in the chart. And your moving average has 0 value. It has no value. Saying something is above or below moving average is saying nothing. It's saying very close to nothing. And if you guys don't understand that as yet, you're far from being a trader. You're very, very far from understanding what it does. Anywhere you believe that the moving average is giving you clues in the chart, you're really, really going it wrong. So here's what you're going to do. That MT4C is just, we only call it that because one of our trader, Victor, colored it for us. It's the same MACD you're using, it's only colored. That is why it's MT4. Nothing magical about it. And that is one of our traders who can do some programming did that. Watch for this sell. It's going to make an impulse. Remember what I said to you when you come in the room? It's going to make, you know where we sold this? Where was our first sell in this come in? I think that's posted in the chart. Let me look at the update. I think we posted that the first sell we had. And we're waiting for another sell now. I did think I posted that update. Yep, this is our first sell. Watch it. It went up. That was our first sell. 1, 2, 3, sell the sucker. Right? So let me come back and show you why we did that. Let's go. What you're going to look for when you know that they're going to turn from there is you're going to go to the lower time frame and you're going to look for a pattern that you know. And when you see something that you can recognize, no support resistance, no moving average, that's your selling point. Remember, I did a webinar, advanced patterns. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And this is why they work sometimes. Here is one that will work. And the reason most of them don't work is the same thing. Traders don't have a clue what the structure is doing. They just put the patterns all over the place. That is one that works. But most traders who trade advanced pattern, they will trade this to come back to this level. Maximum to this level, the 382 or the 618. We trade that to go. Because we understand where this structure is going to go. We are not going to trade for that little piece when you can get the whole thing. Right? One of the guys doing my course right now, I think he's in this room. You don't have to identify yourself. I'm just going to use your example. Say, he was a very, very, very good, and he's still very good at advanced patterns, and they were not working great for him. But he has done all the work you can do on it. He has read all the books. The guy, he is very good at it, and he started figuring out that some of them are not working well, and why. And he's now doing my course, and he's trying to see how to do it much better. As a matter of fact, my advice to him is see if you can merge the two together and write new rules to exclude the bad advanced patterns, the ones that would not go because they're on the wrong side of the pattern of the structure. I hope he does it. I wish him good luck. You don't have to identify yourself right now, right? I think you're in the room. So I wish him good luck in that. And if he does, that would be amazing, because now you can use advanced pattern to help you, although you don't need them. Basically, once you learn structure, you don't need them. You can see them. What you're seeing here is the same thing. You're seeing an impulse and you're seeing a correction. Who says this correction is going to go from there? No, it's not. We don't know that. It could do this, come back here, do that, come back here, do that, come back here, do that, and then drop. You think because you see a pin bar there, or because you see some structure, some moving average there, you think that pin bar is going to help you? Let me show you what it did. Straight through it like it never exists. And that is because it doesn't exist. You want me to see that pin bar disappear? How many times I have to show you guys this before you stop following that nonsense? Where is your pin bar? It's gone. But the structure still remains. You notice the structure is still here. You can trade that structure. Your pin bar is no longer there, but the structure is there. And that's because it's just the design you're trading. You could change that design to, I don't know, let's change it Heikinashi. Used to probably still got. Let's change it to another one. You can change the design to whatever you want, right? Oh, what happened? This is a weekly. You wouldn't get the weekly on this one. You'll have to use a lower time frame to get that one. Let's use Renka bars. See? See that? The structure is there, but you have no pin bar anymore. You still can't trade this. You can trade it. It's still the same data you're looking at. You're looking at the same data, my friend. You're not changing anything. You're just using a different design to draw it. A candlestick is the design we use to draw the data. Why we use them? Because they give us more information in terms of where it opens, where it closes. That's all. Where the market, where it opened, where it went, where the bar closed. And that differs from different bar. You notice if you lose lower time frame, no wicks. Those were solid candles. As well as that, each broker used different time frames. So if you're using a 4-hour pin bar and you look at another broker, he may have a solid candle there because he's opening and closing his 4-hour candles at different time. So it's absolutely useless. We have a trader in the room who knows something or two. So you follow that pin bar stuff and you're going to lose your account. This is what I want you to understand. You can do this stuff. It's not that you can't do it. First, you have to have the willingness to say, I'm going to do the hard work. I'm going to go learn this stuff. I'm going to read the Elliott Wave book. I'm going to try to do it. And if within 1 year I can't do it and I need a little help, you do like what the guy who is now doing my course, who have studied all this stuff and said, now I think I'm ready for your course. Because when he comes into my room, I'm not teaching him basic stuff. I'm not teaching him support interest. I'm not teaching him all. I'm teaching him how to go into that chart and become a pro. Dive into that chart and understand the structure. Get into there, understand the structure, understand what it's doing, understand your risk, and understand the direction it's going to go. Now, one trader wrote, and I'll quote, you don't need to know the direction the chart is going to go. You just need to have an amazing trade. And I'm like, what? I had to read it back. I seriously had to read it back. You don't need to know the direction it's going to go. You need to have an amazing trade. I'm like, what? How do you get an amazing trade if you don't know where it's going to go? It's like saying, guys, you don't need to know how to get from the US to Canada. You just need to know to drive. You sit in your car and you start driving. You will probably end up in Mexico instead of Canada. How you have to have a sense of direction. That's the very first thing you need to know. The direction the chart is going to go. And then you decide how you're going to trade it. Then you go for the amazing trade. If you have no sense of direction, what are you trading? And people write these stuff like they don't reread. You should, at least when you write something, please read it yourself before you post it. You know, just read it. Does that make sense to me before I post it? I mean, honestly, that doesn't make any sense. You don't need to know the directions. You need to know the direction it's going to go. If you want to sell, you have to know that it's going to go down. If you want to buy, you have to know that it's going to go up, and that is why you're buying. That's the first reason you decide to buy, because you think the chart is going to go up. That's a sense of direction. How can you ever say you don't need to know the sense of direction? See, and people say, oh, you're criticizing people. I'm not criticizing people. I'm criticizing the concepts people are using. And those concepts are just to hype you. Right? Those concepts are just to get you to believe that that is what it is. And I'm very sorry for people who believe that, because that's not what it is. It's a really tough business. It's a really tough thing to learn. It's not as easy as learning 2 strategies. If it was that easy, we will all be very rich. This is what, let me go back to this daily chart. The reason we got this trade is because I had a sense of direction. I have a very clear sense of what the chart should do, how it should behave. A very clear sense of direction. If you don't have that sense of direction, you have no idea what you're doing. Let's go back to a chart that I lose, that a lot of trolls were coming to. Let's go to the Aussie Yen. This is the one I want to talk about. Let's talk about this chart. So let's look at this chart. This was the one I post. We were actually trading this. So let's look at this one, this chart I post. Come on, it's opening. And I look at this chart, and according to the wave theory, this, when it breaks this top, should come down. And we are looking for a 1, 2, 3 waves correction and then down. That is a pattern we know, a pattern that behaves just like the Aussie. That's a pattern that behaves that way, right? So what happened? It drops like a hot rock, but it did not go as far as we wanted to go. Some of my traders who were there, and one of them did caught that trade. I spoke to directly, said I got that trade. He was there, sold it, and he got that, and he closed it when it starts to pull back fast. So we all know what happens. Let's go. You see that thing? It just fell. But then it pulled back and it went up. And then I woke up the next day and I sold my first trade. My first trade I sold, I kept the stop above the top. I lost the first one. The second one, I had enough profit. I'll show you the trades, each one. What happened? What really happened to that structure? Let's go take a look. This still remains your first impulse up. That still remains your first correction down. Second correction. And then they drop it here for a third correction. So instead of this being a 1, 2, 3 or an ABC, you have an ABC in the middle. A, B, C in the middle, and now they're going up. That is still a 3-wave structure. But this structure in here has become a little more complex. And that is part of wave theory. That's not something you can see ahead of your time. But that's something, if this was going very slow, not so fast, we will all be in that trade with profit, and then we'll all exit the trade somewhere here when this starts to go back up, somewhere here, and we'll be looking for that trade up. We will be able to forecast that while it's happening. But because it happened so fast, we just couldn't forecast it immediately. And when they broke this top, let me go to the 4-hour. This was my first sell. Somewhere in here, when they come back and they started to come back, my first sell was somewhere in here. Yep, I think so. Nope, yep, and I kept my stop at the top there. That became a loss. My second sell was in this one, right here, right at the top there. I think I have them in the 1-hour. The updates should be there in the chart. Yep. First sell, and then there was a sell here. This was a break-even one. That didn't go. We took it off. Then there was the next sell was here. Came down. There was another sell to sell here. If you wanted. If you sold this, that's a break-even trade. If you sold this, that also became a break-even trade for me, although that was in a lot of profit. I still took it as a break because I kept my stop at break-even there. And now re-looking at the structure, this one wave here up is still one impulse. That's still one impulse from here going up to there. So 2 ways you can look at this chart. Let me just give you the idea of the whole chart. You got an impulse down, you got a correction, and you got an impulse down. We thought this was an impulse the size of this one, so we're going to look for one more down and then the bigger one up. That is still possible. Let me explain to you again. That is still possible. So what you're going to look for now, we're still looking for a sell. Why? Question somebody asked, and I said, come in the webinar and I'll answer your question why I'm still looking for a sell. Because here's what it has to do. If this is going to continue to be an uptrend, it has to pull back. and then go. It has to make that pullback and then go. So I'll be looking for the sell here. And two things is going to happen. It gives me a pullback. I take a break-even trade or a very small profit, or it does this, and I'm in a big profit, nice trade. So I would look for a sell opportunity again. There's no sense in buying at the top. All of you know the golden rule that everybody likes to repeat, but nobody has a clue how to do it, right? Sell at the top and buy at the bottom. Everybody likes to repeat it, right? I saw traders live to say, oh, I'll tell you, buy at the bottom and sell at the top. They have no idea where the top and bottom is. But they like to repeat it because it sounds good, right? It makes you think you know what you're doing, right? Well, this is likely almost making a top. So you're looking for a sell, not a buy. So when traders say, oh, well, now I don't know what he's talking about, selling, I'm going to start buying this thing. Good luck to you. I truly wish you good luck because I know you're likely going to lose your account if you keep buying this. Can that thing go up a next 50, 60 pips? Probably. But eventually, if you look at way this structure is moving all the time, eventually when they broke this structure and they started to go back up, they went up, they pull back, they went up, they pull back, and then they come back down before they go up again. They will always do that. That's the way it works. So let's go back here now and take a look again. Up, down, up. What is the chances they're going to come back down? Go to 1 hour. Wait for it to break. Remember what you're waiting for? You want this to break down. You want it to make a flag. And then you're going to be in that trade going down. Make a flag, you go down. Make a flag, you go down. Eventually, if this flag becomes a bigger flag for upside, take off your trade, and we're all buying it here to go up again. Easy stuff, right? What's difficult? Wait for that. This was a good sell. I would take the sell every time I see it. Did that go far? Nope. It went there, come back. Okay, you take a small loss or you take a... Where would I be wrong on this trade? Let me just give you, I'm giving you guys some free stuff here that I shouldn't give you. Where would you be wrong if you took the sell here? When it breaks this top. So you can't be in the trade still. If you're still in that trade, you have no idea what you're doing. You should not be in that trade if it's going. Take a small loss, come out, look for another trade. If you call me and you said, I'm still in the trade, but I have no stop, I'm like, well, you're risking your whole account on one trade. You're actually putting your whole account on a single trade. And that means you can lose your whole account on a single trade. If you risk the whole account on a single trade, you can lose the whole account on a single trade. That's not how you trade. That's not how you should trade. That's bad money management. Look for this trade. It's likely going to come back. If it is going to go up some more from here, it has to make a flag. And then we're all going to be buyers. That's simple. It's not magic. Gold, let's look at gold. We've been talking about gold for quite a lot of time. Nothing new. We've been talking about this for a long, long time. We've been talking about from where it's going to go up. We've been talking about this still continue to go up. We've been talking about this making correction to come down here now, right? And even when it was here, I posed this chart. Let me see it. I think it was in the 4 hour. And everybody was calling me and said, what do you think it's going to do? What is going to do? Where's the chart? I think this was the up. This was the buy, right? This was the buy because we saw this structure. And we said, once you see this, buy this up. Right? But when it was here and everybody was wondering what it's going to do, I said, guys, just relax. First, it's a down move because we're in a downtrend. We are going to get in the next down move. There's no need to worry about that. You're going to get that down move. But there is a chance that this up move here will make its way to the top here. So if it makes a flag here, buy that piece and then look for the downside. If it comes very sharp down, do this, then you get the sell. What did it do? Let's go take a look at gold. It came down. And my traders look at this pattern. Come on. Why is it like that? Look at this pattern and set a good chance for a buy. Once it comes here and start to reverse, you take your trade off. Here is your sell opportunity. Here is your sell opportunity. Here is your sell opportunity. Do you have another sell opportunity? It'll be right here again. What's going to happen after that? This may be the last one down, and then this structure is going to end itself. Now, what could happen to this structure? This is the structure I'm looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up. Can that structure change? Sure, because it may do this. You sell here, and you're one lucky bastard that goes there. Do you care that the structure change if you're in the sell? No, you're probably the happiest person on earth. You're like, damn, that's good. I'm glad that guy is wrong, right? It's not that we are wrong. It's just that the structure we're looking for behaves this way. If it breaks down, and it can break down, these would be smaller impulses within a bigger downtrend. I don't think it's going to break down. My experience and my knowledge of this chart tell me, if you look at the bigger structure, this is what you see. And based on what we see in the bigger structure, if it is going to break down, it will first make a move up and then break down. Now, does this chart has potential to go test the low? I think I already said that once in this room that yes, it has. Because we relooked at the entire structure. I'll have to take everything out here so you guys have a view. We relooked at the entire structure and we said, here was an impulse, here was a correction, here was an impulse, here was a correction. They have a chance to retest this low and then start going up. It's the same on silver. Very similar structure. You have an impulse, you have a correction, you have an impulse. We think this could be a possible corrective structure here. And that means this has a chance to go down. Retest the low, not very far, and then start the up move. That is a possibility we see. Now, will it do that? Remember what's the whole concept of wave theory? You take one piece at a time as it's developing. You go with it one piece at a time, and you can see that the one piece at a time was your sell there, your sell here, and you probably get a sell here. What if it breaks out? Look for a small correction and buy that, because this is your trade. Now, will that trade go up as sharp as it's going up there? I didn't know, but this was the same trade we took here like in the gold. And it went up, pull back, went up, pull back, went up, and then it starts to fail. At this point, actually, I thought they'll make one more up to come back until they break. But once they break the structure, you're in a sell setup. See? It's that easy. What is this structure looking like? It comes back here slowly. We'll all be selling. See? Peng Yen, let me give an example of Peng Yen, what it's doing. And I'll do one more chart and then we'll call it the day. So we can show you the concept so you understand what you should do. Where is Peng Yen sitting? Did we call that trade? Did we call this trade? You want to see them? I think we call all those trades. Let's go to the 4 hour. Yep. Downtrend. Remember when it was going up? That thing was going up crazily here. And we said that's a downtrend. Look for your sell setup. I think we even call it before this happened. This was just a second trade to that. That was a second post to that trade, right? When it is going up. Let me show you the previous one. So you can, sorry, I missed the previous one. That was the one I should have clicked on. This is one when it's already going. Here is this one. Let me see if you can find it. This one I think is on the 1 hour. Nope, sell setup. Why do we sell at those point? Why do you want to sell at this point to go down? Well, because you had a correction, and after a correction, they're going to go down. See? See where these points are? Here and here. Those are your selling points. What happens when it comes here? Take a look at the chart. So let's go to daily so we can see it more clearly, right? So there was a sell setup when it did this, and it came here. There was a sell setup when it did that and came here. Well, it's doing this and come here. Guess what? I think by now all of you are wave traders in here, right? You're like, darn, I could see that trade if it happened. So if you can see it, how do you trade it? Let's go trade it now. 4 hour. 4 hour. Let's see. Wait for it to break the structure. It has to first break the structure, make a flag, and if it does, you sell that flag. Let me show you what it looks like in a 60-minute on the previous one. This is what it looks like in a 60-minute and a previous one here, right? You break out of the structure. See that? We break out of that structure. We make an impulse. We make a flag. That's your sell setup. That's it. That's your sell setup. It's the same thing you're going to be looking for here. See? You want them to go down. See? You want it to come up there. This one is great. This is showing you all the sell setups we have. Here was a sell setup, break of that structure. Here was the sell setup, break of that structure. Here is the structure is not even formed as yet. And we're telling you, watch that structure as it goes up there. It is going to come down. See? Watch that structure as it go up there. This chart is amazing. You got to go look at it again so you can see it, right? That is the point where we're telling you, watch for the sell setup to come. See? That's exactly where it falls from. So I'm telling you now, watch this sell setup. If all the yen pairs do what we think they're going to do, we will probably have one more sharp impulse to the downside on all of them. We're still in the Aussie cat trade, by the way. We're still in that trade. It's coming up pretty sharp. Can it go up all the way back to the top? Maybe that would be a break-even trade, but I don't think so. I think this is going to crawl up some more. We'll probably come down here. If they come down very slow, we'll exit the trade. If they come down very fast, we'll keep the trade, right? We're still in that trade. This trade has big potential to the downside. That's why we're keeping it. If it's short-term trade, it's a short-term. This is a long-term trade. Euro, New Zealand, nothing has changed here. Absolutely nothing. I've shown you guys this already many times. You have an impulse. You're getting a correction. Just wait. Just wait. Watch it do that. Just wait and watch it do that. So let's go back and look into the daily. You can see that the daily is not so sharp to the downside. Look how sharp this one came down. They make a correction. This one came down sharp. They make a correction. This is not coming down so sharp. It is not coming down. Eventually, somewhere here, it will start to take off. Don't miss that trade. Just don't miss it. It's easy. If you miss it, you learn nothing. Let's go. I think it has some more downside, by the way, in the 4 hour. Let me show you in the 1 hour, 4 hour probably. Yep. First, we're thinking we're already, some of my traders already in that sell. I think it's going to make one more here. It's going to come back here. Then it's going to drop and then look for your reversal. See that? That's how you do it. How do I know it's going to do that? I don't know. Let's see. It's because we understand what patterns we are looking for. It's like I know how these patterns behave. I know which pattern I'm expecting it to make. And if it's going to do what I think it's going to, this is what it will look like. So first, we're looking for this sell. Maybe one slight variation is that this one here, I don't think that is doing it, but there's a chance it's going to crawl its way down to break this low, and then the reversal come. That would be good for me. I'll be pretty happy because I'll be earlier in the trade, and all my traders are in that trade for the sell. They'd be pretty happy with that trade. We will see how it goes. But that big move to the upside is something all of you should have. You should get into that trade. See? So we can't do all the charts, guys. I know you're all very enthusiastic and all of you want to be in all the charts, but we can't do that. We can't go and do all the charts now. Today was more to give you an insight as to what and how we do. What is wave theory, how it works. So you have an idea. It could be complex. It's not that simple. It gets complex sometimes. We can't read into the complexity until we have all those parts of it. When we get 2 parts, we can tell you where the 3 and the 4 will go, but you need more to decide that. So I hope all of you have a very good insight into what we do. And it has nothing to do with all the little things you think you can master. You can master them, but they may not give you that good. Elliott wave gives you this wave theory. It gives you a higher advantage, than it gives you the highest probability of better trades than any other strategy that I have learned so far. And believe me, I've learned a lot of them. You can do the same. You can learn all of them, but if you want something to give you a better advantage, the best edge in the market, this is the thing you need to learn. So make your minds. Decide on that. And then come to me. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. I know it's holidays in the US. Yesterday was, I don't know if today is. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Is it Thanksgiving, by the way? I hope I'm not getting myself confused with anything, right? So, yep. And all of you have a wonderful weekend. I would see you next week. Don't forget to like my charts. Click a like if you like the charts. I don't need like. Let me be honest with you. I just need the charts to be seen by other traders. If the charts doesn't get a like, nobody sees them. And they're amazing charts. You see the Aussie chart, a lot of people saw it because you guys liked it. Thank you for that. I really don't care about the likes. I just want people to see the charts. And that the system TradingView has, if you have to like it so people can see it. Right? If you see an amazing chart, click a like on it. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye. And thank you for coming. You're amazing. Bye, everybody.